All right, everybody, let's have a little look at question 3 from the Junior Cycle History Exam 2023, which was all about the famine. So this question was worth 54 marks. 36 of the 54 marks, the answers were basically here, okay? And then the 18 marks remaining were for kind of content that you would have studied in class. All right, so our first question says, one of the terms from the list below has been matched with an explanation in the table. Match 6 other terms with explanations in the table below. And there was 18 marks going for this, and you got 3 marks for each correct word that you matched with the definition. Now, the first thing that I'd say is, I know it says match 6 other terms, okay? But you should really try and match all of them just in case you got one wrong, so you have a backup. All right, so our first one, farmers divided their land between all of their sons, which meant farm sizes grew smaller as time went on. And this is subdivision. Growing only one crop is called a monoculture. A destructive fungal disease which caused potatoes to rot was blight. A severe shortage of food causing illness or death to a large number of people is a famine. Now, arrears is already done for you, so you don't get marks for it. A legal removal of a tenant from a landlord's property is called an eviction. A landlord who lived away from his or her property and who employed an agent to look after the estate was called an absentee landlord. An economic policy, which meant the government did not interfere in business or markets, was called laissez-faire. A place where the poor and destitute could find accommodation and food in return for carrying out various forms of work was a workhouse. And then our last one, the act of leaving one's own country to settle permanently in another country is emigration. So if you turn over the page, it says study the map below, which shows the spread of potato blight in Europe from June to September of 45. So question B, name 2 countries apart from Ireland that were affected by the potato blight. And there were 6 marks, so there was 3 marks for each, okay? So you could have said England or Belgium, which are named on the map, okay? Or other countries were also accepted, like Norway, Poland and Wales. Question C reads, around what 2 cities was the blight recorded in June of 1845? And again, there were 6 marks for this, 3 marks for each. And our answers are Brussels and Frankfurt. Now, D is a relatively straightforward question, but you had to make sure you actually answer the question properly. So it says where and on what date was the blight first recorded in Ireland? And there were 6 marks. So 3 marks for where and 3 marks for on what date. Now, you needed to say the Botanic Gardens in Dublin. Okay, so you must include the full location and you must include the full date. So you can't just say the 20th of August. You had to say the 20th of August, 1845. Okay, so again, you can see Botanic Gardens, all right, Glasnevin, Dublin, and then 20th of August, and our year is up here, 1845. Now, question E says, explain one advantage of showing information about the potato blight on maps rather than describing the same information in a written paragraph. And there were 6 marks for this, and this was a sliding scale. 6 marks for excellent, 4 very good, 2 marks for poor, and 0 marks if it's incorrect or irrelevant. So a map is a visual source, that's a nice keyword, which means it can be understood by a wide audience as it's not dependent upon knowing a certain language. It's an explanation. It allows you to quickly see information at a glance. So again, that's an advantage of visual sources. For example, you can see the blight affected most of Europe, all right? And again, you're referring to the source, referring to the map. So our last question in question 3, what were 4 consequences of the famine? And this was 12 marks and you got 3 marks for each consequence. Now, I would suggest you number your points to make sure you don't forget anything, to make sure you don't leave anything out. And your points needed to be specific, not vague. So you couldn't just say a lot of people died. That's only going to get you maybe 1 out of the 3 marks. So you need to be specific. So first up, we could say 1 million people died, 1 million people emigrated, subdivision of land ended, land went to the eldest son, others often emigrated, and contributed to the Irish diaspora, which refers to the scattering of Irish people and their descendants around the world.